Hi everyone, thank you for joining. This is Carrie Jacquet and I'm here with Joe Gottlieb for another 5 Minutes with Joe. Today we're going to be talking about the 2013 Gartner Magic Quadrant on security information and event management. And Joe, I think we should just start with, where did we end up on the quadrant?
So we're still in the niche quadrant, which is targeting a specific area of the market, which we'll talk about today. But we moved up. We moved up considerably northward, almost to the edge where we would cross over into the challenger market. So that's important to note because when you get guidance from Gartner on these magic quadrants, to quote them, focusing on the leaders quadrant isn't always the best course of action. There are good reasons to consider market challenges. In fact, the niche player may support your needs better than a market leader. And I think that describes, how we serve the marketplace. We don't, get put into the leader quadrant because we don't address the mainstream market. We focus on companies that really have the highest stakes in security management, and they want to take the most aggressive and proactive stance towards gathering their data and analyzing it to reduce their risk. So that's really what we've been focusing on for years. And Gartner gives us high marks for doing this. In fact, to quote Gartner, Sensage is optimized for large organizations that require high volume, event collection, analytics, and reporting for large amounts of log data over long periods for audit, compliance, and internal investigations. So that, I think, sums up how we've really focused on the marketplace, those organizations that are being most proactive, and not those that are only willing to buy more shrink-wrap solutions that are simpler and perhaps only limited in regard to how much time's worth of data,
or single
what diversity
sources,
of data they can provide,
correlation,
what reporting can be done. So those are the things that I think make it easier for companies to execute with a narrower set of functions, and then they get points for being able to do that in a way that's more conducive to the broad marketplace.
And I think the use cases in the report definitely, highlight sort of the box that Gartner wants vendors to live in, and they still give us credit for being able to do, the basic of that, but then, as Joe's going to talk about, we are listed as one of the 12 vendors in the critical capabilities report because we deliver on top the scalability and addressing the sophisticated needs of the analytics piece, right?
So yeah, I think it's important to note that we remain in the critical capabilities document, which takes only a subset of the vendors. It's 12 of really the top players that are serving the critical capabilities in the marketplace. So we point that out, and we think that's particularly important. Another thing we picked up on in terms of integrating threat intelligence, so one of our key improvements this year was integrating a threat feed into our SIEM system so that we can look at the data in the context of those threat feeds. We can correlate off of threat feeds and see, which interactions are being had with bad URLs, just one simple example. And so that really advances that particular use case, which has become quite competitive in the marketplace. So that's something we added this year, and it gave us some nice lift in the overall capability.
Right. So I think there were a few more things in the critical capabilities report that you might find of interest, and that report can be made available through your account manager or your partner. If you would like to be walked through some of the details, certainly they'll be able to help with that. But definitely those were the highlights from being in that report. I guess to close out, we should also say, if Gartner sees fit to modify the use cases and sees fit to sort of acknowledge what big security data is doing to change the requirements for security management, I think we'll be talking about a different position, right?
Absolutely.
At that point, because that's our heart.
I mean, it seems to be a lot of discussion about that in the marketplace. Lots of claims. Our experience is that vendors make big claims in this area and they can't back them up, and that's where we win business, because when customers are ready to tackle large data sets and ask lots of questions of that data in a recurring form, that's really where we shine, and we don't see competition at that level. We do have to wade through a lot of market noise, and these reports produce some of that noise, where these broad claims are then compared with other things that one vendor might be able to say or another. But when it comes right down to that kind of functionality that's required by companies that are ready to tackle it, that's where we really shine. So if you want to know more about that, don't hesitate to contact us or your Sensage representative, and we'll be happy to help you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We hope that was helpful, and we look forward to seeing you again on another 5 Minutes with Joe.